So yesterday we were continuing with our discussions of SCO. We are talking about India and SCO, right? So we said that India had become an observer state in 2005, and finally in 2017 India was given the full member status in 2017, right? Then let us look at the analytical aspects of India's engagement with SCO. Analytical aspects, right? Initially, India's engagement with the SCO, was limited. It was limited because an observer state was not allowed to participate in decision making processes. Right? It was not allowed to participate in a decision making process. And then in 2011, United States had announced that it will reduce its military operations in Afghanistan. The role of SCO has increased. As a stabilizing factor, SCO has increased as a stabilizing factor in this region. The role of SCO has increased. But India faces many constraints. In SCO. What are those constraints? First and foremost, China is the most dominating. China is the most dominating country in SCO. Second, nexus between Russia and China. Making it much more difficult for India. Making it much more difficult for India to decide policies of SCO. Third, China and Pakistan are very close allies. Fourth, return of power. RETU, or in return of power by Taliban in Afghanistan. by Taliban in Afghanistan is another major hurdle. Major hurdle. Some of these next problem. Some of these members of SCO. Actively supported terrorism in India. Actively supported terrorism in India, which defeats the very purpose of SCO. Next, recently, China had taken a position favoring Russia in Russia-Ukraine war. Whereas India mostly opted for a neutral stance. STANCA. Next, SCO. Next problem. SCO is still perceived. It is still perceived as anti-Western bloc. Anti-Western bloc. BLOC. India is also part of another major alliance in Asia. Another major strategic alliance in Asia. What is it? Pardon? Anti-Western. This is pro-Western. Quad. Yes. Quad, which is considered harmful. Quad, which is considered harmful to the interests of majority countries in SCO. Next, it becomes difficult for India. To maintain a strategic balance. Between Russia and United States of America. Strategic balance between Russia and United States of America as part of these alliances. Right. Next, these are all the problems. Let us see the prospects. What are the prospects for India? These are all the problems. What are the prospects? Cooperation on security. Energy. Cooperation on security, energy, connectivity and economic issues. Connectivity and economic issues are the major gains for India. Major gains for India. For example, all SCO members are affected by problems like terrorism, drug trafficking, and arms smuggling, right? Pardon? Cyber security, yeah, you can include cyber warfare. You can also talk about it because the latest summit talks about that also. Cyber warfare also you can include, right? SCO can help. The same point, SCO can help in ensuring better coordination among member nations. SCO can help in better coordination among member nations in tackling these problems. Next, India can also benefit immensely. From energy supplies. SCO member states energy supplies. SCO member states holds 25% of global oil reserves. 25% of global oil reserves. 50% of gas reserves. 35% of coal. And 50% of uranium reserves. 50% of uranium reserves. The biggest oil and gas pipelines. Are built here. Here means in the SCO states. Next, India can also benefit. Next point, India also can benefit in the form of connectivity projects in Eurasian region. Eurasian region connectivity projects. Connectivity projects in Eurasian regions, Europe plus Asia, Eurasian regions. For example, OBR, China's OBR. What is OBR? Very good. Bornvita quiz contest. The way you answer immediately, right? Very good. OBR, for example, OBR, right? Then this is what where we can say, yeah, For that, he should know geography, little bit of, he should know a little bit of economy and everything else. Why? Because this initiative of China is to connect the rest of the Europe through rail and road connectivity. So India can also benefit in terms of exporting or importing its products by using this OBOR. India is opposing OBOR because it passes through POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. India did not recognize POK as a separate independent region. If you look at the map of India, POK is still part of India only. So India says that how can China construct a road passing through Indian region? India. So obviously that means it gives more opportunities for China to encircle India from all dimensions. If China has this kind of infrastructure assets with itself, already on the eastern part, India facing so many problems with China's aggressive designs. So if on the western part also, if you have this kind of thing, it can be more difficult for India. And India is opposing it because, as I said, it is against the sovereignty of the nation. Because we still believe that, POK is part of India only. That is the reason why India is opposing. Otherwise, if we accept the fact that POK is not part of us, and we can easily benefit out of OBOR. Because imagine having rail and road connectivity from Asia to Europe, to all those countries. Right now, the basic issue here is that the transportation costs are very high. Insurance costs are also very high, because if you are traveling overseas, if your trade is through overseas, the time is also very long. Insurance costs are also very high, because the ship insurance is very, very high. On the other hand, if you are using these train and road routes, it can vastly expand the scope of trade. Almost all the European countries are in favor of it. Obviously, you have to decide. See, you have to decide what you want to do. Rest of the world cannot wait for you. If you still live in that mindset that anything that China does is bad for us, you have to pay the price, because the rest of the world will not wait for you. India has to take a decision regarding it. Obviously, that's what we are saying. Can we stop this one? How? I think you are busy preparing for UPSC, otherwise you would have gone there to the border fighting the Chinese. I can understand your patriotism, right? How can you stop it when the rest of the world, in fact Europe was skeptical, even entire Europe did not know how to respond to this OBOR. They know that they can benefit a lot, but at the same time they also know that if this comes into operation, China is already occupying all the major sea routes, the ancient Silk Route, old Silk Route, and then China also will have complete monopoly over road and rail links also. Yeah, that is what I am saying. That is what we are saying. That is what we say. The objective of this initiative is that you can connectivity. The ports can be connected to rail links, so that it becomes easier also. Wherever you want, whatever you want, you can do. But nobody can stop China at this point of time. Nobody can stop China. That is the reason why, if you cannot beat them, exactly. Otherwise, you will be left behind. As I said, Europe itself is very, very much concerned about this OBOR, and they cannot do much about it, because if they don't want to be part of it, they will be left behind. That is the reason why Europe has come around accepting that OBOR is going to be there. But again, it is a very costly initiative. China right now is also not in a position to complete the whole project. It becomes difficult also. Right? So this is what India can benefit. Next, proceeding further, let us look at the recent summit that was held. in Uzbekistan, recent summit. What is so special about this summit? First and foremost, it is the first in-person summit in 3 years. All the heads of the state met, all of them had met in person for the first time in 3 years. Prime Minister got opportunity to use his new aircraft, which he had brought before Corona. As we know, he went into depression also. For 2 years, he could not use it also. He was growing beard. When he was going abroad for the first time, he had cut down his beard, right? So that is what. And this is the first conference wherein Putin had attended. This is the first conference wherein Putin has attended since the war in Ukraine. Since the war in Ukraine. Then India will be hosting the conference for the first time. India will be hosting the conference for the first time in 2023. First time in 2023. Next, Iran was included as a full-time member of SCO. From next year. Belarus also will be part of SCO in the immediate future. Right? So this is what the speciality of this conference that was held. And what are the gains for India in this conference? What are the major gains for India? Multilateral as well as bilateral. What are the gains for India? What are the major gains for India? First, an agreement on building an agreement on building a consolidated list of terrorist entities. Terrorist entities in SCO was reached. Consolidated list of terrorist entities in SCO was reached. All these SCO members have reached an agreement to list all the terrorist related activities in the region. It is a major gain for India. I think the time is up. We can stop it here for today, and tomorrow we will continue. Right? Today I thought that we will take up CBI also, but because of the problem with the camera, right? No problem. Tomorrow we will discuss them, and we can come back to our regular class, right? As usual, I will come back in exactly